Welcome to the Mayor's Perspective podcast, where Illinois community leaders speak candidly about the state and nationwide decisions that directly impact your community, your wallet, and your future. No spin, no talking points, just real conversations about the policies shaping our communities and what it means for you. Because when decisions are made at the top, they're felt at home.
Okay, and we're here today with the Mayor's Perspective podcast. We're here with Chris Harris, the Chief of Police for Pingree Grove, and Guy Zambetti and myself are flying solo without Mike Reed tonight, so we're a little bit nervous. Be patient with us.
It might be better.
It might be. I don't know. But I think I'm supposed to remind everybody that they can listen to the Mayor's Perspective podcast on YouTube, Apple Podcasts, or anywhere you can find podcasts is where you can find us. It's under the Mayor's Perspective podcast. All right, so we're going to get started. We've got Chris Harris tonight, the Chief of Police from Pingree Grove, and we're here to talk about some good news, things that are happening, what's going on with the police, and then later on we're going to touch on the e-bike controversy and where we think that's going to go. And so we'll get started. Chris, what can you tell us about Pingree Grove Police? What have you guys got going on that's exciting and new?
Well, Pingree Grove is just a wonderful place to call home. It really is. A big reason is that because we have a strong bond with our residents and the police department. We actually get along with everyone that we have, which is really nice. Our officers are actually friendly. They're proactive. They don't just respond to calls. So it's really, we have a good relationship with them. So that's always a great thing for us. We enjoy being a part of the community, and we do all kinds of events and school visits, and we chat with the residents. We have interactions in order to help us build the trust of them. So, we really try to change, do things for the community, which we really enjoy. So right now we've got a lot of things. One of the things we're very proud of is the Special Olympics. Last year, we actually raised more than $15,000 for Illinois Special Olympics, and we actually got our name on the back of the T-shirt this year, which is a goal that I had that I wanted to accomplish during my tenure. So we're very happy about that. We hope that we can continue with that kind of response from our community because they're the ones that actually made this happen. So we're really happy about that. And we have the upcoming Cop on the Rooftop coming up on May 15th, which is a Friday, from like 5:30 in the morning all the way to about noon. And we'll have other events at Culver's and Huntley and for Tip Cop, and maybe a few other little things throughout the year, including the National Night Out. There's a thing now that they want to do is put me in a dunk tank for a little bit, so we're going to raise money for Special Olympics that way as well. So I'm sure there'll be a long line with just my employees.
Who do you think is going to be in that dunk tank? I know you're going to be in there. Who else is going to be in there?
I offered to be the first one in so I can get out. After that, I'm not really sure. I know I have a couple officers who also said that they would come in. Maybe you, President Kubiak, maybe the village manager.
I feel like that's a job for Andy. He would be good at that. As Guy is well aware, I don't like to get my hair wet. He went in the dunk tank.
You want those caps on, a little rubber cap, like in the 80s.
That might be fun.
But yeah, we're trying to do different things for that as well. So we've got a couple events coming up for that, and then of course at the end of the year we always do things for the Shop with a Cop, Dundee Township, which we're involved in. I know Gilberts is also involved in it. Pingree Grove's been doing it for like 15 years, where we take needy families out for shopping for Christmas time, and we give them food and things like that. So we're very big on that. So those are the really good things that we are trying to accomplish.
You guys also constantly have a coat drive available at the police station, don't you? The coat drive boxes up there. We always have food drives for the B300 food pantry, all these things, ways that people can easily give to those that are less fortunate just by stopping in the police station.
Yeah, I wanted to make sure that we can do everything we can for our community. That drop box that you're talking about is in our vestibule, which is open 24 hours. We can come over and drop off stuff, and then when it gets full, we make a phone call. They come and they pick it up and they get it out there. We also work with pads over in Elgin if we need things that we can deliver over there as well. So we have a lot of things that we've been focusing on for the community because that's what
you guys. You also do Sherry and Paula, who work for you at the police station, they basically do the giving tree every year. They kind of get that all sorted out for the village. I've been over there when they're collecting the stuff to drop off, and they've got quite the system down. There's stuff up and down the halls of the police station that they're getting ready to divide out between the families for the giving tree.
Yes, they've been. Sherry's been with us for a very long time. I want to say she's in 17 years. Paul's been with us for about 8 years. Both of them are very into doing stuff for the community, and they handle most of that. They work with D300. They work with Shop at a Cop. We get our friends from Carolina who come, and they actually make baskets for us as well that we can give out to people. The giving tree, as we said, that we have at our tree lighting ceremony, we're out there to gifts for the people. That's what I think we're trying to accomplish, to show that we're more than just a police department. We're a part of the community. We want to be a part of it.
Now, recently, you guys just did Coffee with a Cop. Can you explain a little bit about that and what you guys have done with that? Was this the second year you guys did Coffee with a Cop?
Yes. So this is going on my third year as chief, and when I started, it's one of the things I wanted to bring to the community was a opportunity for the public to come and talk to us in a comfortable setting. We provide some treats. We can sit with the community if they have questions, what's going on, and just to meet our officers, to know that we are just more than the police just driving through. We want to be a part of it and find out what you're about and what concerns that you have, and we do it more on a casual basis, kind of like the podcast. We're very good at talking. Now, I just had one, and I've been moving around. We did it at the community, at our village hall. We've done it at Dunkin' Donuts. We did it at our community center this past time, and I'm probably going to move to somewhere else next time. Kind of move around because not everyone wants to go to the same area. We've had some decent turnout. Mostly they're kids, but the parents do have a lot of things to explain. That a lot of them are actually very happy about our response to the community and how we've done it. We see more positive than we do negative.
That's good. That's good. You have a younger police force. A lot of your officers are younger, which I think sometimes is better with the kids. They seem to interact really well. I've seen some of the officers interact with the younger kids in a positive way.
Absolutely. We do have a younger police department. It makes it a little more difficult in some aspects, but it's a different thing than I'm used to. I've been doing this for over 20 years now. My deputy chief has been doing it even a little longer than I have. Some of these officers have only got 5 or 6 years experience on. They're very young, they're very go-getting, and they are good with the community. They like waving at the people. They like talking to them. They like being a part of that. And that's something that some didn't think that was going to be in a police department. They all thought it was all, we're going to go out and kick in doors and get the bad guys. But now they're starting to see that a lot of people are just very happy to see us when we're driving by. We hand out stickers. We've got a lot of good things, and we have some things that are forthcoming as well that we think the community's really going to like.
Like, can you allude to what those are?
I think we will as we go on with our conversations, because like I said, my department doesn't even know really we're doing this yet. This is something I came up with in the last week.
Okay.
That I had a fellow chief kind of give me a little hint of what I should be doing with some things because I knew this was coming up. So one of the things I wanted to do, and we can maybe merge into this, is the electronic bicycle thing. What we want to do is we want to show that there's a positive to everything, all the communities and everything, with how we're going to go about this. So we actually partnered with 7-Eleven for Operation Chill, which is a coupon program. And our officers are planning on when we see kids that are actually doing good, riding their bicycles, with helmets on and obeying traffic laws, and even the electric bikes, when they're doing the good things, we want to meet with them and tell them, hey, you're doing a great job, and we want to give them this coupon for like a free Slurpee. And that way we can try to give a positive spin on all this, because since so much is negative about it, we're trying to see what we can do in order to turn this around so we're just not the bad guys out there. We want everyone to be safe, and that's what this is about.
I like that idea. Guy, what are you guys doing as far as e-bikes right now? Like, what is Gilberts up to?
You know what?
What are you thinking?
I want to say we're not doing much, but it's difficult at this point in time to do much, from my understanding of it, because we're kind of waiting on the state. And correct me if what you're seeing on your end, it looks like Senate put something out there, but it still hasn't. It's still in the process, and if it once it gets through it at the state level, then at least then we'll have something to work off of. I think that's kind of what all the departments are going with, because at this point in time, there's so much. What are you enforcing? It's an electric vehicle, but then some of these vehicles are going like 30, 40 miles per hour. They're going on bike trails. Do you have a driver's license for them? Like, there's all these things that make it difficult for us to enforce because the technology kind of beat out the actual policies.
It's very challenging because there isn't any really law that we can go off of right now. So our officers can't tell somebody you're doing something wrong when there isn't a law to be able to go back to. You can't write a ticket for something, for a law that doesn't exist. I did talk to Senator Severson and Representative Kiker to see how they thought that the law that's been proposed, if that's actually going to make it through. They think there'll be some changes, but they do think that we'll see that passed by end of session. So I hope that that's the case, so we have something to work off of and something to create our own ordinance so that we can enforce some kind of law. Our problem, like for us, we have so many pathways and people are so upset that there's so many of these e-bikes on. A lot of the kids are honestly respectful. You just have a handful that just are not, and that's where it gets challenging. I think it's also challenging when they're like, in traffic on the roadways. It's dangerous, and that's what we see a lot of too. We did put up signs on our paths to try to let people know, hey, this is what you should be doing on the path. This is the way to be respectful. Some people have said they've helped. I don't know. We'll see. Chris, what do you think? Did the signs help at all?
We've heard that yes and no. We've heard that why doesn't the village put up little stop signs like they do in forest preserves on bike paths? Maybe that will help it. I believe if we're going to go on what I believe on this is going to be that it's up to the parents to be able to make sure your kids understand how these work. It's really no different than anything else. In my day, it was a skateboard, how to be safe on it. You had bicycles out there and you had pegs on the back of the wheels and having two people on it. Well, how do you do it safely and not just let them go out? And we want to make sure that everyone is safe. So I think it starts with the parents educating the children. Now, I know there has been talk with our local fire department that we want to come up with something as a training or some kind of a public service announcement to them to try to see if we can help with that. That's something that's still in the works. But we haven't seen too much in our village on the negativity of it. We have those people who do have concerns, but overall, we haven't had too many incidents. There have been a few, but not enough to say that we actually have a problem. And we have brought this up. I want to say I brought this up a little over a year ago as a possible concern, and we didn't think much of it. And then myself and my deputy chief went in front of some senators and stuff, and not only did we have questions about the Freedom of Information Act and some of these requests we're having, we brought up about the e-bikes, and it was amazing. The other chiefs in there, they all started piping up about it. The city of Elgin just outlawed them altogether, it sounds like. That's just what they're doing, and that's going to be an outcry from the community because we knew that they were going to be on the Christmas trees. They're going to be out all summer long. And when they were slower, when it was the little like a razor type scooter that only went 6 miles an hour, it's different than some of these that you're seeing now that are at 25, 28 miles an hour, and you need a license. And the state is trying to come up with something, and I give them credit for at least answering this call instead of just ignoring it.
Yeah, no, I agree. We need to have some kind of law to work back on, though. It's just too hard because you do see like some communities are doing nothing, others have outlawed it completely, and I hate the idea of outlawing anything and just saying no scooters, no e-bikes, because there are, like I said, there are a lot of kids that are respectful and do ride their scooters or their e-bikes the right way. Not everybody should be punished because a couple people can't manage it. Yes. I like the idea of the education. I think that the education course or the announcement or whatever you want to do with the fire department, I think that would be a really positive thing.
Yeah, that's what we want to do.
Yeah, I think that'd be great with the fire department, a great way to partner with them.
Well, and a lot, your community might work like this, I'm not sure. A lot of the stuff that we do, because we're a smaller community, we don't like to go out and reprimand people. We don't like to look for people to find them and do this. We're typically complaint driven, and that's what causes a lot of laws to be put into place. There's people that do something wrong, or they just aggravate people enough to it gets to a point where you start getting these things in there. And I've been watching in our community, it seems like it's driven up in other areas a little faster, but I did notice near the end of last year and now the beginning of this year, it has gotten a little worse. I think it hit us a little later, but we are getting. And like you said, Amber, there are some I'm seeing riding them. They're being very respectful. They're minding where they're at and who they're around and what they're doing. And then there are some that are just they feel it's a dirt bike course. They're going to go off road with it. They're going to go down the bike path with mom pushing her stroller with her baby in there, doing 30 miles per hour, head on with her. And guess what? That's the consequence part. Now, you're acting like that, and because you're acting like that, the complaints are coming in, and now we have to be more sensitive to that. And it's a legitimate complaint that they have. Then I've gotten the blowback of, it's funny that it seems like the world we live in today, it's not my fault, it's your fault. And one that I've gotten was, it's not our kids' fault. It's the village's fault for not providing a course for them to go on. I'm like, oh, now that's different. All right.
Yeah,
but humor that, right? Someone brought it up. Being honest, bite your tongue. So I was trying to be open-minded about it and reading up a little bit on it and understanding it. Then when you start going into that Pandora box, I was like, you know what? We're a little bit semi-rural. They like to feel. So let's see, can we do a course or can we do something to get these guys off the street or off the bike paths? And then it scared me even more when I looked into it, because then it opens up to who's managing that course. What are the rules? What are the ages? Is everything on that? Is the kid that has a little huffy dirt bike allowed to go on that, or the guy that has a 30 mile per hour e-bike able to go on it? So could the 7-year-old that's got a pedal dirt bike go on it, and the kid that's got a 13-year-old with this 30 mile per hour dirt bike e-bike, then they collide? All that opened up. Who's monitoring that? Or you have these trails, who could get to them? Someone gets hurt back further into a trail, like fire department, police, and then are we turning into actually parenting? That's okay, you know what? Maybe we should take a pause on that idea even more till this state thing, let them do the heavy lifting, because we're gonna, role model off of some of that.
Yeah, that's exactly what we're planning to do. As far as the track, that'd be a great thing to have, but the reality is the liability for that. I can see our lawyer's head spinning.
Yeah.
Hopefully he'll listen to this and see that we said that's not a good plan, because the liability on that would be crazy. I can't even imagine.
Yeah, I mean, it's one thing when they go off road on their own, but it's when you build a track for them and say, "Here, have at it," and there's no one there policing it. Okay.
No,
and now when someone's kid breaks a collarbone or worse, now that's the village's fault too.
Exactly. Yeah, it'll come back on you. So
right.
No, I know it's a painful topic that has been going on, like Chris said, for a year. We've because as soon as they started, people were like, what is this? I don't like it. You have some people that are very against them, some that are very for them, and then a lot of people in the middle. And I don't know, we got to figure out a way to, I guess, make the majority happy, because you're not going to make everybody happy with any kind of ordinance that you write on something like this.
Yeah. And then when you get if they do go down the road of the ones that are 30 miles per hour that need a driver's license, now you're going to get these people that say, great, I just bought my kid an expensive paperweight now.
Oh, yeah. Well, yeah, you're 100% right. Yeah.
And then are we going to have to stop every kid to ask them, do you have a license? Right. It's different in a car. And then it's going to be, well, now you talk to my juvenile, what? Are they doing something wrong? You have to call the parents. It's going to be difficult, but it's something that we will get through like we have everything else.
Yeah, it's definitely not my favorite. What can you do? I don't know.
It's cool. All right. Well, you write them tickets? I don't know.
We're not the third safest city for nothing.
Right?
I know, Chris. That's my favorite. We got to talk about that, because we just started getting on those lists, what, like 2 years ago?
Is it?
A while back, we hit in the top 10, I want to say about 6 or 7 years ago. And these are based off FBI studies. And then we kind of fell off the radar. And then within the last 2 or 3 years, we were able to bring it back. We hit 4, then we hit 2. This year we were at 3. We're kind of dabbling up there. We had some higher call volume that we've ever had, actually. And we had some more serious calls this past year. But what they don't take into effect is not only did we have those calls, but we actually solved most of those as well to keep everyone safe. But they don't see that. They see it as the crimes. Unfortunately, some of the stuff that's been going on lately between kids and adults, things are going to happen when you put all these people in these communities. So, but we did hit, last year we were number 2, this year we are number 3. And we're very proud to have that because that's something to show that I feel that we are doing a good job when we see that. And I know if I feel I'm doing a good job, I'm hoping that my mayors feel like I do a good job.
I think you're doing a good job. I think it's interesting that you said that we got back on this radar and have been on the top 5 in the last 2 to 3 years. Because I'm like, wait a minute, who does that coincide with? My term?
Yes.
You being chief of police, No, I think it's great. We've done a lot of things with the police department. We've increased staff there a lot. We've increased our fleet. We've got new vehicles, new equipment. I think all that is really important, and our residents see the investment that we're doing in our police department, and it's important. I always say is the village, we provide public safety and clean water, right? Those are our 2 major functions, and we've done a good job with that, so I'm very happy.
Yep.
What else? What else can you tell us? Any other good news?
Our village is growing, and as you said, so is our police department. I would never want to speak negative about us, but there was a long time ago where the village grew and the police department didn't, and then it took us a long time to play catch up. I believe we're there now. Now, as it was mentioned, I do have a younger police department. Our department actually started as all part-time employees in 2006, and with a part-time chief, and we are now at 18 full-time strong with 1 part-timer and 3 civilians. So we have focused on trying to bring enough people so we can service the people in our communities. Now, this generation of officers is a little different. They want more time off than me, we worked a lot of overtime. We like the money. They want their time off. And we have training. We have unfunded state mandated training that we're required to do. Not to mention all the other training we have to do. And when we send people out to do this, we lose them, and then we have to backfill, and it becomes hard. That's why we wanted more officers, because we want to make sure we at least have enough to handle. I know last night during our village board meeting, we had 4 consecutive calls all at the same time with an arrest in there. And there was only 2 of us working at that time because 1 was on their day off, the other one, and 2 were in training. So it was very hard for them, but we called in people and they were willing to come in because our officers are very proud to be a part of this community, and they do want to serve for us. And I hope that they do serve for us for a very long time. We've only lost a few people, and that's because they went to other agencies with like $1,000 pay increase. It's the only reason, but we haven't lost anyone because of either poor leadership or because they didn't feel the department was going the way they wanted to.
That's good. That's good.
You guys, you also, as far as your department goes, it grew fast. I mean, before Cambridge Lakes came in, I want to say, did you guys have a police department, or did you rely on county?
Well, now this might be fun. That I used to work for the Village of Gilberts for 2 years, and when Pingree Grove started, my old academy supervisor, who was hired as one of the first 3 officers, he was over at the Gilberts Police Department, saw me, and goes, "Come on over." And we needed a young person. At the time, I was the youngest one on the department to come work the night shift because we were actually on call at night. This used to be an area for the sheriff's office.
That's what I thought.
And they were getting more and more calls. And in order to serve the community, they were able to start a police department. And I was just able to be in a part of a groundbreaking opportunity, rolled the dice, and I feel that I think we did okay. But there were some times where there was only a few of us that were working because a lot of us were part-timers. And now, like I said, we are 18 full-time people strong. We have 3 sergeants, a deputy chief, myself. I got 3 great administrative assistants kind of in records. They are the backbone of the organization because, I mean, the amount of Freedom of Information Act requests, I mean, we had 172 last year. And we know some of them are AI generated, but others are, people who want to have it. And that takes a lot of time off our hands in order to do that because it's got to be redacted and body camera footage and things like that. So we're going to try to continue to grow this agency for as long as I'm here and try to give the people what they deserve.
Guy, do you guys get a lot of those Freedom of Information Act requests too?
Depends on who we're getting mad at. Like, it's different ways, Like if everybody's chill, you're fine. Like if someone's mad, all of a sudden they all have freedom of information. I don't think we get that many though, but
I feel like we get
that's just the police department. That is not the village because we're separate. So that includes the state attorney's office. That includes.
Well, that expands it a lot.
Yeah, it expands it a lot. But that's Freedom of Information Act requests that we have to provide for.
Yep.
There was 1 week where we got 12 of them in 1 week, and we only have a 5-day turnaround period, and we had to stop what we were doing to make sure we get caught up on that. Not only are we doing that, we're also handling the people coming for calls, phone calls coming in. The traffic on Route 72, and crashes and things like that. We've had a lot. It comes to be a strain after a while for people.
Yeah.
And that's why we understand that as long as we grow with the village, we're going to be okay.
Well, let's back up for the listeners too. What are these Freedom of Information Act filings? I'd like them to understand what impact that puts on whether it's the village hall, the clerk, or the police station. When someone files these, depending on how big their range of what they're looking for, and it could be anybody. It could be you at home. It could be an agency, as Chirstopher pointed out. Someone could say, I want a specific meeting or a specific date. Or someone could put in their freedom of information, I want anything pertaining to this person. And that could make it like, if that person was around this long, it could be a lot of information. Now, there are also other restraints to it to where if someone was to pull a freedom of information about certain detailed information that employees and stuff, that would be subject to where you wouldn't release it. But the point I'm trying to get to is these things could be a huge search. And then when you get multiple coming in, that could really tie up your resources and hopefully you get through it.
And also, like, if it's a juvenile, if they're requesting something that included a juvenile, the redactions on that take forever. Correct me if I'm wrong. You had one recently, a juvenile FOIA for something that happened, and it was 18 hours to redact everything from just that body cam footage?
It was, because not only did we have 4 officers show up because of the amount of juveniles that were involved, none of them had IDs. The situation was just, there wasn't anything really, I'm not going to say it was wrong. Something brought to our attention. We went and checked it. There was like 7 or 8 different people. Well, you can't provide that juvenile information out because they're protected. So every time a juvenile talked or anything, you have to bleep that out. Now, a parent can hear their own, but they can't hear others. And that's what it takes a long time to do. And the software that we have, the recording, is not the greatest at this time. We're working on a new avenue of this. But there used to be some of the software where you click a box over a person's face and it'll follow it. We don't have that in our system. We actually have to watch the whole thing. We have to bleep things out. And then there's sensitive information, date of births that go, the juveniles' names, statements that are made. That takes a long time. And even an incident where it was just a traffic stop that maybe only lasts 15, 20 minutes, it actually can take very long time because there were so many people involved in it.
Now, that particular one took 18 hours to redact. So that's 18 hours of somebody's time that we're paying them. It's just, I don't think the public always understands how intensive the FOIAs are and what the search is like and what the redaction is like, how long it takes.
Well, and also, depending on what it is, some of them use it as a weapon. Some of them will actually tie up your resources I'm mad. I'm going to FOIA
Mhm.
request you. Now, if it's a big enough topic of something current going on, you might get a few angry people that want the same topic. So now when you
Yeah,
get 5 people that FOIA request, just a little, they change the variables a little bit. It's really tying up over something that might be discussed openly anyway.
Well,
absolutely.
we actually have one that we're dealing with right now. They asked from all traffic citations from 2024
There.
until
Mhm.
present. And what we did was we tried to say, please see our annual report. I'd come up with an annual report every year. I put it online, but it's not the direct. It's not direct information. It's kind of like a summary, but they want a month by month breakdown, and we're not required to come up with new ways of doing things. If we have it, we have it. If we don't, we don't. I did a summary for a yearly summary. I don't have a month by month breakdown. We don't have to do that, but then it makes us look like the transparency is not there.
Right.
We're working with that now, but my last annual report that I spoke on a couple of weeks ago was 47 pages, and it had everything from statistics all the way to things that are going well in the police department, crime stats, training records of what the officers have been doing, all the way up to the last thing is we have one of those drug take back boxes, and I make sure I keep that in there because I want the communities to know we have a 55 and older community. If you have old drugs, you can bring them into the police department. We will dispose of them for you. But we try to provide enough information. Instead of people looking for that, they want to ask us, and then we're like, well, this is how we have it, and it's not good enough. And that's up to the Attorney General's office to kind of back us up on that, hopefully.
Mhm.
And they have in the past.
Now,
All right.
now here, this getting off topic a little bit, but it's still police related. I found this interesting, and you might have the time frame. I'm sure you have the time frame in your head. When something is in your possession that is under investigation, let's say you have an item or something that was part of a crime scene. How long do you have to hold on to it? This blew my mind. Now I'm going to give a reason for this. There was a crime scene that happened in our village that part of the evidence was a portion of a house. So the
Mm-hmm.
officer took the sawzall, cut a chunk of this portion of the house off. Well, maybe if we kind of thought about that a little bit more of how long this stuff needs to be stored, it's a long time. I think it's until the person dies or something. Like,
It has to be released from the state's attorney's office as well. So if there's an ongoing case,
yeah,
that has to stay on there. They will give us a disposition if we can get rid of it. But like sex assault kits have to be hung on forever, and we have actually two refrigerators in our evidence room because I had to buy a second one because you can't freeze them because they'll destroy it if we have to go back if we don't have any things. So we have to hang on to that. How long are we going to have to hang on to as a small agency to be
yeah,
able to hang on to that stuff? But some things like that, we had a mattress in our possession for a very, very, very
it takes
long
up a lot of
time.
space.
Yes. And then we were able to get it to go to a long-term storage place. So hopefully
Oh God.
someday that will go away. But I think that's all the rules of evidence and stuff like that. But yes, things can stay for quite some time, and it depends on the crime.
And the thought process behind it, I think, is let's say the crime happened and it went to court and they made a ruling, but maybe 10 years down the road or 5 years down the road, they come back and challenge it. I don't know what the thought process. Let's say,
Statute of limitations.
okay,
The statute of limitations. There are some things that are infinite. There are some things that are 17 years. There are some things that are 7 years. There are some things that are only 2 years.
17.
Yeah. So
It's
and
gonna hold that
who
mattress.
came up with that number? I don't know. But yeah, so like the sheriff's office, they have their evidence room is so big, and they have freezers and they have refrigerators, a whole room full of them. Small agencies like yours or ours, we don't have that kind of space. We do we do disposition, a lot of things that we get from the courts, and we can open up rooms. That's why our evidence room is quarterly inventory to make sure that stuff is in there and what we can get rid of. We find a bicycle, we got to keep it for 6 months because it's found property, and at that point, then we can either give it to a place for an auction, or we can give it to needy kids or stuff like that. when I first started, I was on night shift and I was considered one of the bike thieves because I'd find bikes everywhere and I would take them back. We had 35
Oh my
bicycles in
God.
there, and we held an auction. I had them up at the water tower, and we held an auction. And if someone wanted to come, they can pick out a bike. And parent, if my kid didn't come home with his bike, I'd like to know where it was. But we had 35 of them at one time.
35.
Yeah. It's not that I had nothing else better to do, but I would drive around. I was the only
It's probably nighttime and it's kind of quiet. And
yeah, and I would see it. I would throw it in the back of the car, and then we would put something on the social media, or even if no one would call for it, and it would just disappear, and then we would have it, and then we put out a message that we had all these bikes, and some got back to their owners, but most of them didn't,
Isn't
and we
that
actually
crazy?
donated to a place out in Bartlett.
I feel like it's like when people abandon cars, and just leave them on the side of the road. They were just leaving their bikes.
Yeah.
We actually had a problem with that with pets for a little while around
Wow.
COVID. We would find so many animals and they weren't chipped, and we knew that they were taken care of by people, and people just let them go. And we did our best to get them back to people. And we have foster care agreements. If someone wants to take it over, they can, or we have King County Animal Control that can help us out with that.
That always makes me sad because it still happens, doesn't it, Chris?
Yes, it does. We only had, I think, 3 incidents this year. The year before, we only had 5 where they had to be euthanized due to how terrible that they were. And I'm not talking feral cats. I'm actually talking these are real pets. So, I mean, we do what we can, but yeah, there's all kinds of things like that.
Yeah, that makes me sad because there are things that will get the dogs out here, the coyotes. Maybe. I guess it depends on the size.
Yes. We had a owl actually come down and pick up a chihuahua once.
Oh God.
I had a chihuahua, so I'm not trying to laugh.
Yeah, the owls. We had these barn owls that were swooping down, and one of them picked up a dog, and it did drop him eventually, but it did come down, and the owner was really, really upset about it. And they said, "Well, what are you going to do?" I'm like, "The owl's gone. There's nothing we can do."
Yeah.
But,
Yeah, what can you do? It's a wild animal.
Yeah. We don't let your dog out at night.
yeah, and that's another thing that we do. We have a Facebook page, we have an Instagram page. Also, our village website, I actually designed our website a long time ago, and I keep up on it. And there's a lot of information on our website that you can find. One of them is about animals, the information on Freedom of Information Act, how to get a report, all kinds of things, including we do an arrest blotter, where anyone who gets arrested, we put the basic information out there. And we allow them that so people can understand, because you can do that. We don't put pictures out there, but we can put the data out there for an arrestee, because that's when you can do that. So when we have people, and we have, again, the Freedom of Information Act, I want to know all the arrest records from the months of January through March. Please see our arrest blotter. And that's what we're doing in order to get away from some of the Freedom of Information Act stuff. Our website is actually pretty detailed compared to others. Now, I may or may not have stolen some ideas from other agencies, larger agencies.
You didn't steal it from us. I can tell you didn't steal anything from us.
So, but you're welcome to look at ours
on the computer.
You're welcome to look at ours to see what we have. But we did a lot of work in order to make sure there was a lot of information out for the public, and we tried to do that. One of the other things we did last year, I did a winter weather or severe weathers demonstration for our 55 and older community. I went out there and I did a whole presentation on how to stay safe and what information you needed. We've done that. We've done fraud alerts. We've done things like that. So there are a lot of things that our agency is doing that we think we're doing for the community. We want to make sure that we're out there for that. It's just another service we try to provide. Now, most of this is stuff that's happened within the last 3 years, because when I became chief, I wanted to make sure I can make that big difference. And then I found I bit off a lot more than I could chew. And now we're going to try to take it back a little bit. And then last year we hit the $15,000 in donations to the Illinois Special Olympics. And I'm like, all right, now here we go again. Let's do it. And I kind of run my people a little ragged. I do that, I will say. But we're doing it for the good cause, and that's what we want.
Hey, can you talk about, you brought up severe weather. Can you talk about the sirens and what they're meant for? Guy, I'd like to hear yours too.
You're not telling me to bring it up, are you? You're talking.
No, I'm asking Chris to bring it up.
Thank you. Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, okay. We had an incident
can you, Chris?
last week.
I will do my best on this. So the outdoor weather siren. And that's what they are. They're outdoor weather sirens. They're not tornado sirens. They're
Thank
outdoor
you.
weather sirens. Okay. We have 3 of them in our community, and they are connected to the National Weather Service. I actually have a program that we can set them off manually if something doesn't work right, but there's electronic geofence out, and I actually pushed it as far as I could into Hampshire because I want to give us at least 5 minutes to get people under control, and I think that helped years ago when we had a tornado that came through, and it did skip over us thing, we're happy about, but we want to make sure we have that. So these outdoor weather sirens, they will go off. We test them. First of all, let's put out there that they do get tested once a month, the first Tuesday at 10 a.m. And we understand that there are people who are having putting their young babies down for naps, or the 55 and older community where they don't want to hear that. But unfortunately, every place kind of does this testing at that time. We did have an incident, as President Kubiak mentioned, where they went off and everyone said that they were ours. And I went into the electronic system and said, ours didn't go off. We found out Elgin's did because theirs were set up for severe weather. Now, their closest one is at the intersection of Highland Avenue and Damish, which is in your backyard.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So everyone thought it was us, and it wasn't. And we got some negative feedback on our Facebook pages and phone calls in. Why are they going off? We don't understand. There's no tornado. And we did not set them off, but they thought we did. So as soon as a chief and maybe around Pingree Grove saw the alert from Elgin, I threw it on my Facebook page saying, hey, we got some complaints, but it wasn't us. Here's the report that was it was in the news about Elgin actually setting theirs off. We shouldn't have to do that. Those are safety measures for them. And I understand it could be an inconvenience, but those are set there to save somebody, anyone who is outside to get indoors. And I get that they could be an inconvenience. They are loud and they do scare people, but they're there to alert people. So when the communities are saying, like, I don't understand why they're going off, be glad that they're going off where we have an issue. There was a situation, I want to say about a year and a half ago, where ours actually went off because we were connected to a different dispatch center out to the east. That was the original, and they couldn't reach us anymore. Well, they fixed their tower and they raised it a little bit, and then when they did a test to see it, ours went off during the daytime and just an odd time, and it was sunny and beautiful skies, and no one knew why ours went off, including me. And I found out it was a whole different dispatch center. And they said, we've had you in our system for over 15 years. And I said, but it never worked. Oh, we just fixed it. Were you going to tell me? No. Okay, so we disconnected from them completely, and we took on ourselves. And I don't know if that was the right thing to do, but I didn't want to have any more accidental activations. So we actually have a box in our police department that we can manually set it off, and I set up everything to make sure that it's set for our community. Now, our community has grown quite a bit, and we have noticed that there is a area of sound that it will pass, but in order to have the amount that we need, we're going to be having to add an extra siren probably in the next year or so, because the map that I have, which I don't think I've ever shared with you, but I shared it with Andy. I said that we're going to have to put one up north, up by Big Timber, because just to make sure we have enough. Once we have that, we should be covered for everywhere, but those sirens are there to keep everyone safe. And it is an electronic geofence that is set through the National Weather Service, so when they hit a certain area, those sirens go off. Now, we also have the ability to do it remotely if we really needed to. Hopefully we never have to, but you always have to have backup plans, because if you have it, you won't need it. Luckily, we haven't. But those are out there. They do work. They are serviced every year. And like we said, it wasn't us last time. Hopefully, when we do use them, they are out there to save everyone. And that's what they're designed for.
Have you
The
guys
biggest
had problems
blowback,
with
I don't know if you're getting it, Amber, but the biggest blowback I get with them is people are upset. They're like, we didn't hear it. We didn't hear it. And it's like, I'll say it again. I keep trying to remind people, they're not for indoors. They were for when you're out in the field, out in the open area. But I don't want to put them down and say they're predated. There's a lot of advancements that have happened since they came out with these sirens. A lot of people, including these little guys have phones. Your phones nowadays have such great like warnings. You have the news, the TV, radio, but like I said, the phones seem like they do a lot. People are. I don't know if they realize or if they're forgetting or not. The R values on homes change so much, so you might have heard them more in a home. You weren't ever intended to, but now because especially now that they're trying to push more electric heating and stuff,
Mm-hmm.
the R values, the insulation that they're putting in walls, the window thicknesses, the double panes. It's making, besides keeping the cold air in when it needs to be cold, the hot air, it's also keeping that noise out, which is also the tornado siren. So you're seeing some of that. You're also seeing your municipalities as they get built up, just besides the hills and the valleys in the area, you're getting larger structures, smaller structures, and where it hits them, it might have changed things for you.
Well, we have an answer for that as well, Guy. We have an Everbridge program where
Yeah.
we have that, where it does the same thing. I have it also set as a geofence for it automatically go up. It can do weather alerts, it can do missing person, it can do all kinds of things. Does it come at a cost? Yes. How do you put a cost on safety? This is something else. And we can set it to go to their phones. You can either sign up for it, or if we really needed to, I can draw a circle around an area and say, hit everything in that section that is connected. The last time I checked, we had, I want to say, almost 20,000 people connected on the resident list that actually can get to if we needed to. But we actually have that as well, that we can do that, and it'll go to your phones. You can get text messages, you can get emails, you can get stuff like that. We answered that problem because we saw that as well, that outdoor weather sirens, to get you inside. But those who don't have that, we have the Everbridge program in Pingree Grove.
Isn't that funny though? Like what you just put out there right now, I think services and reaches people faster and quicker and is more reliable is right at their fingertips, no matter where they're at. And whether they're in the bathroom, even isn't it funny? Do you ever notice as the sirens are going off, they'll all go on Facebook and say, I didn't hear the siren. Well, you know it's coming. Like, if you didn't see the gray sky out there, seeing I have 100 people that I see interacting on social media talking about it, you know about it. We're all good.
Yeah, like just go to your basement. Yeah, I know people are always like, is there a tornado? Why do I hear the sirens? I'm like,
but when are they? Here's another thing that could help a little clarity. And honestly, I'm not 100% positive on this. When are they to go off? Is it when there's a tornado spotted or the conditions?
Okay. So the answer to that is when a tornado has touched down, when it turns to a warning, where that means one is spotted, and it's within the geofence that we set up. I'm not going to give out the exact locations of ours because I don't want to upset people, but I do spread it out. But it is around our area enough to give so. But when a tornado is spotted by a trained spotter or the National Weather Service has said that a tornado has hit at this point and it's past that threshold, it will activate our sirens now. I found out you do pay a little bit more for this automatic activation. We didn't have that at first. So I remember there was a storm not that long ago. It was out. It was in like 12:30 in the morning. I was actually at home sitting in my basement waiting for it to cross. And I was sitting and I said, this is ridiculous. We have to find another way. Well, of course there is. For a little extra $1, we will activate it, automatically. To me, it was worth it because it needed to be done at all hours. These storms we've had in the last couple of weeks, I know McHenry County had a microburst up there. We've had some damage up there. The sirens were going off in Hampshire not that long ago. I want to say over the weekend because of the storms coming through. Again, it just depends. Now, there are trained spotters who see it, and then there's the National Weather Service who has it. That's how we're set up. So that's how they're activated. When there actually is a touchdown, that it can be confirmed. When the weather conditions are correct, okay, that is a watch. When one is seen, it's a warning. One of the things we always laugh out in law enforcement is it's like a taco, okay? When you have all the pieces of the taco, that's just the watch. When it's the full taco put together, now we got the warning. That's the easiest way to remember that.
Okay.
So that's when we set the alarms off because there's a real concern of it. We have a watch all the time. We're not going to set off for that. But when we have a warning, we have something, set that siren off and get people inside. Now, we do have people that stand outside and go, oh, with their phones and go, I want to record this. Okay, I can't fix that, but
Right.
we can.
So now, is that the way Pingree Grove handles it, or is it across the board? Because I believe
That's,
maybe some municipalities might like. I heard, and I heard this secondhand. I didn't hear it direct from them, but some were saying Elgin changed some of their policies that maybe during severe weather they put it off. Could that be the
I
case?
have the ability to do that too if it's a severe
Okay,
weather.
so they might be doing that.
On our Everbridge, if we have severe weather, it will alert by a text message or email.
Okay.
That's for severe weather, hail, lightning, stuff like that. Our Everbridge will do that because it's not that. When there is a possibility of a warning of a tornado, I want everyone to know about it.
Right.
So that's where the sirens are going to go off. I can set the sirens up manually to go off for that, and that's what I got scared of, thinking, wow, did that get changed on an update that I missed? And I went back and looked, and I checked the activations, and it wasn't us, and I was very happy about that.
Yeah.
And I confirmed that we didn't have our setup for that.
Huh.
But we have our Everbridge set up for that, so we still have the ability, and you can sign up for what alert you want. And I set it up to an address, so if it's within this address, within so many miles of it, it's going to go off for the Everbridge program.
Okay, so then if I'm understanding this right, when I have people that are calling maybe on one side of town saying, the sirens went off, did they go off by you? And then the people on maybe the north side of town are like, they didn't go off on me. The sirens must be broke. It could very well be maybe one town over, like let's say Elgin, they just have a different style or policy of when they turn theirs on. And it really wasn't ours. Elgin's went off, ours didn't go off, ours aren't broken. Or part B, it could be that whatever that geotherm is you described, maybe there was a tornado within that range, but not in this range. That's why you're not hearing it in this section. Maybe that could be part of it.
Once it hits the geofence, it is a circular motion. So if it crosses anywhere, it'll set them all off. They're all connected together. They do not get set off individually.
Yeah, it's probably Elgin because Elgin.
It is because like there's one at Big Timber with them. So
yeah.
And ours is at Highland and Damish, which is right there. And I was just, now that we have some construction through our area, that's a major thoroughfare. And even when I left, I saw it there. I'm like, it's right there. So of course it looks like it's us too. And you guys are not far from there either. So, you know, it's just what you have a setup for, but we set it up for, if there's a tornado, ours goes off. But the Everbridge program is for everything else, kind of like. We want to put that out there. But I can also set that off for missing persons, silver alerts, juveniles. We can set it off for a roadway closure because of a crash if we wanted to, but then someone's got to actually activate that one. But the weather ones, the more important ones are that. Now, lightning, we set that up for a purpose because last year, unfortunately, we had some events that I actually had to shut down due to severe storms when lightning was striking in Pingree Grove. That did not go well for me, just so you know. And I was told I was vindicated, which I'm happy for because people lost their time to have fun because these storms are coming through, and it's about safety for us. And we had to do that. One of them was our 4th of July celebration. We lost one day of that, and it did not go well, but it was because we were safe. I activated the lightning alert because I wanted to make sure that anyone who, as in my department, sees lightning, if there's an event, we want to know about it. Now, if we don't have an event, the other night I must have had 12 different lightning alerts on my email. And is it inconvenient? Yes, but it's email. I go in there, I hit the delete button, it's gone. But I got a whole list of all this. And you shift, control, click, boom, they're all gone. So it's not that big a deal. I'd rather let people know about it. And they can choose what they want to sign up for.
Mm-hmm.
All right, guys, we got 5 minutes left.
Good job, Amber. I was going to go in there and do it. You keep it track.
Yeah. So, Chris,
yes,
thank you for joining us tonight. What we do now for the last 5 minutes of this show is we do what we call happy hour. Tonight I'm drinking bubbler.
I didn't bring anything.
Water. You didn't bring anything?
I got water.
I brought well, mine's water too. It's just flavored water.
All right, that's all I got.
I didn't bring anything. No, I was thinking about an Aperol spritz, but I just didn't have time to make it. But anyway, so we do that, and then we talk about good news things that are going on in our village. So, Guy, I'm going to let you go first.
Well, I don't have anything too wild. I might next week. I mean, the next session. But right now, nothing. We have the cops and rooftops coming up like you guys.
Yeah.
but nothing too wild and crazy.
Okay. I've got a couple things. Kind of a PSA to everybody. Ranking Road is closed at Public Street. Ranking and 20, that roundabout that Elgin and IDOT are doing right at our border, is starting. It's started. Like, I went over there today. There's big culverts out there. They're moving on that construction. So that intersection is going to become a huge roundabout. But we're excited to see it go because I think it was a safety issue for us. No, Chris?
We had some incidents there back in 2015. We had a fatal crash with a semi truck that turned into a hazmat call. It was a mess. And where that roadway was a 30-mile-an-hour, almost a 90-degree curve, we're going to take that out to make it a roundabout, which is a traffic calming device. One of the things, I was a traffic reconstructionist for 11 years and on the call out team, so I understand a lot about traffic. I understand the need for them. That intersection needed to be rebuilt. I hope that it does not take as long as they say, but it's going to be like that for a while, yes.
Yeah, I mean, they did tell us till end of construction season, so there is a chance it could run through the end of this year, which is inconvenient. But I do want to point out, and Guy, you'll be happy about this too. I think the Milk House and the Cottage Suites are both still open, so I encourage people to still get over there. There's still ways around. There is a detour to get you over to those. You know, I don't know how people could go a whole summer without Milk House ice cream. I don't know how anybody could go a week without Cottage Suites. You know I love the Cottage Suites.
That's what you were there for. That's how you saw it.
You might not be wrong, Guy, but yeah, I love those businesses. So I wanted to call out that, you know, they're still open and just invite people to check out both of them if you haven't. I mean, the Milk House is on the Illinois Board of Tourism makers list, so I'm sure probably everybody in the state's been there at this point, but go again. And Cottage Suites is newer, but their stuff is really good. I can't encourage people enough to get over there. We are breaking ground on projects here in the next week or so for our skate park. There's no skate park in it. It's just built around the existing skate park. You know, we're going to have a basketball court. We're going to have pickleball courts. We're going to have a pavilion. We're going to have all kinds of stuff over there. So that's going to start here in the next week or two. And we anticipate that to be done for Labor Day, which is kind of a bummer. I'd like to see it open sooner, but I can't make construction go faster, unfortunately. We will have an ice skating rink, though, this winter over there. So excited about that. And our bandshell project continues to go with a date of June 15th to open up. So we're pretty jazzed about that, too.
Did you get new entryway signs?
Huh?
Did you get new entryway signs?
I did. Did you
When
see
did
them?
you get them?
Well, isn't that a fun question? We approved that purchase, I think, last August, and the first two were installed beginning of January. We still have one to be installed on Route 72 right now, but they got to get an IDOT permit. So you know how that goes. It should be up by 2029, 2030, you know, at the rate IDOT moves. So that's where we're at with that. And then we have some ideas for some other signs that we'll do as construction projects complete.
I noticed your signs, and I was like, I got to get new signs. And I'm like, oh, never mind. We need a new police station in Village Hall. The signs are going to have to wait.
Well, those are, yeah. The cost of them was not as much as I thought. Really? So, if you're interested, thank you. I really like them.
I think them
it's a nice. Chris got in front of the police station. He got a beautiful marquee sign that has all kinds of information on it. It's really nice.
That was designed originally in the building back in 2008. That was because of budget cuts. They cut back on it. And I was able to put it in this past year, which was really happy about.
That's great.
Yes. Yeah, it's really nice. It's an electronic marquee, so you get, like, right now you got touch a truck, you got you used your DUI funds for that, so that we have to, you know, don't drink and drive stuff, but it's really nice.
Yeah,
you got to
check
it
that.
out.
You can get a lot of information out pretty easily.
One other quick thing I was thinking about for Pingree Grove before I forget. May 2nd is Touch a Truck, and that's for anybody that wants to come out. We do a great event for that. It's, I believe, 1 to 4. I can't remember. Check our website. It's on there. Check our Facebook page. But May 2nd, and she's got so many trucks coming out this year. It should be fun. Anybody can come out. It's a free event. Really fun. In the Cambridge Lakes Charter School parking lot.
Sounds good.
All right, guys. Chris, thanks so much for joining us. We really appreciate it.
Chris.
Thanks for listening to the Mayor's Perspective podcast. If today's conversation matters to you, share it with someone who cares about the future of their community. Be sure to like and subscribe so you don't miss upcoming discussions with leaders from across Illinois tackling the issues that impact your city, your wallet, and your future. Because when decisions are made at the top, they're felt at home. Let's talk again soon.